Welcome everyone to Current Affairs by Civil 360 IAS Academy. So in this session, we'll be discussing about non-deliverable derivatives or NDD contracts. So the news was that RBI has actually banned banks from entering into NDD contracts, and this action by the RBI was actually to curtail the depreciation or to curb the excessive speculation that was happening on the rupee, right? So as soon as RBI had actually banned it and also took a lot of other measures, the RBI had actually strengthened from 95 exchange rate to 93. Okay, 93 rupees per US dollar. So you know that rupee was depreciating due to various issues, right? FPI outflows happened, the crude oil prices has been rising, increasing volatility, dollar strengthening. All these issues made rupee depreciate. And when the rupee is depreciating, the RBI now is taking the step of banning NDD so that the rupee has actually strengthened. So we will see what is NDD and why its ban actually helped the rupee to gain in value. Okay, so non-deliverable derivatives is effectively non-deliverable derivatives is simply, it's similar to derivatives, but the key word here is non-deliverable. So here the underlying asset is not exchanged by the parties. There is no physical exchange of the underlying asset. Okay, so whatever they are actually speculating on, that is not being exchanged. Only the net cash flow is exchanged. Okay, so that is a key difference between other contracts. Like for example, you have currency swap derivatives. In currency swap derivatives, the currency will get swapped, right? The principal as well as the interest rate both will get swapped. But in non-deliverable derivatives, the cash amount, okay, so I will just explain that. Okay, so this is how a normal non-deliverable derivatives actually work. So there will be two parties. They will say that, okay, they will keep an amount known as a notional amount. Okay, kind of similar to a principal. Okay, so say here 10 lakhs. Okay, and they will say that at a future date. Okay, so when the contract has actually been created, they will fix a exchange rate which we call as a forward rate. Say here in this case it is 83 rupees per US dollars. Okay, now they are actually speculating. They are saying that at a future date, okay, the rupee will, one party is saying that, okay, the rupee will depreciate, or the contract is actually saying that, okay, there will be a depreciation, and if such a depreciation happens, then they will set a an amount. Okay, so they will say a settlement amount. They will set a settlement amount in the contract which is equal to spot rate minus forward rate. So spot rate is actually when the time of maturity of that particular contract of that derivative, at that date what is the exchange rate, that will be spot rate. Forward rate is the date on which they actually entered into that NDD, okay, or at another earlier date, right? What was the exchange rate at an earlier point of time, that is the forward rate, and then you multiply with the marginal. So they will keep a simple formula like that. Okay, this is a very basic, they obviously in reality it will have a lot of complex equations and complex factors will be there, but this is basically how it works. Okay, so say on a particular date, say this is on 1 Jan 2025 and on 1 Jan 2026, say the rupee has depreciated. Okay, rupee has depreciated to 25 rupees US dollars. So this difference, okay, is actually of 2 rupees, right? This difference is actually of 2 rupees, and this is actually multiplied with this, and you will get a rupee, okay, a sum of rupee, and that rupee is converted into dollars, and that is a dollar that one party will get, the party which said that which entered into the NDD. Right, the party which entered into NDD is now speculating that it will depreciate, and they get a better rate because at the time when they actually entered into the contract, at that time the rupee had not depreciated. So when the depreciation actually happens, and since it is being settled in US dollars, since it is being settled in the US dollar, which has strengthened, this amount, that net amount is actually a gain. Okay, that will be a gain for the party enters into the NDD. Okay, and similarly if it appreciates, it will be a loss to you. Okay, so basically understand in NDD, so only that net amount is actually being transferred between the parties. That is the key idea. That is the thing you have to remember. Non-deliverable. Here the underlying currency that was not exchanged. The 10 lakh did not get exchanged. Only that net value was actually exchanged. And depreciation actually favors the party entering into the NDD. So that actually, so what happens in reality is that this NDD usually happens over the counter. It's not regulated by RBI and it happens overseas. Okay, it happens overseas. So it's beyond the jurisdiction of the RBI. So there is less control over those kind of operations by RBI. So what these big MNCs, big companies, they will do is that since there is already a market, market sentiment that the rupee is depreciating, they will further worsen that sentiment because these NDDs are actually creating a market sentiment that the rupee is going to depreciate. Okay, so this depreciation will again further push down the value of the rupee again. Okay, it is beyond, it's not actually connected to the fundamentals of the economy because it does not happen within the domestic territory of India, it happens overseas. So it is purely speculation. So the original idea was NDD was to hedge against currency risk. Okay, but it has become a speculative instrument. That is, people are actually entering into it to get that marketary arbitrage. Okay, so that's the basic idea regarding non-deliverable derivatives. So key point, there is no actual delivery of the asset, only the net exchange of cash flow is there, and depreciation actually incentivizes this depreciation, further putting downward pressure on the rupee value. Okay, so that is basically the idea of a non-deliverable derivatives, which has been banned by RBI for banks. So banks cannot enter into NDD anymore. Okay, so that's all in this session. Thank you.